Welcome to Restaurant Influencers. I am your host, Sean Walchef. This is a Cali BBQ media production. In life, in the restaurant business, and in the new creator economy, we learn through lessons and stories. I am very excited about today's guest because we get to talk about the barbecue business. As you know, we've turned our barbecue business into a media business, which has allowed us to launch this show on Entrepreneur. Thanks to Toast, the technology company, for sponsoring the show, allowing us to reach over 30 million people in 2 years. I have to pinch myself because we get to interview incredible guests, legendary guests in the restaurant space, the hospitality space, and the creator space. And today I have Joy Stehney, who is the owner of Joe's Kansas City BBQ. And if you don't know about Kansas City BBQ, you most likely have heard about them. I have heard about them when we turned our breakfast business in San Diego into a barbecue business. The legendary Gene Goycochea, he taught us how to slow smoke barbecue, how to use Old Hickory pits, how to cook Kansas City style barbecue. And we brought it to the West Coast in San Diego back in 2008, 2009. And he told me about this legendary place in Kansas City that served the best barbecue in the world out of a gas station. And I said, Gene, there's no way that people are serving incredible barbecue out of a gas station. He said, absolutely. It is Kansas City it is Joe's Kansas City BBQ, and we will go there. And lo and behold, September 12th, 2016, my wife, Rositza, myself, and Gene, we went on our barbecue mecca to Kansas City. First place that we went was to Joe's Kansas City BBQ. We met with Carolyn Wells, who is the founder of Kansas City Barbecue Society, good friend of Gene Goycochea's, and she brought us into the gas station, into the legendary establishment. We got a tour of the entire place. We got to see the Old Hickory smokers. We got to see the team. We got to see the commerce. We got to taste the incredible barbecue. And here we are today with Joy to hear the real story, this behind the scenes. Joy, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sean. It's nice to meet you.
I am so excited to have you here to learn about how you and your husband got into this crazy, incredible, amazing, beautiful world of barbecue. So let's start at the beginning. Can you tell me where in the world is your favorite stadium, stage, or venue?
So we started in a competition barbecue. My husband and I did right after we were married in 1991. We married in 90. I think our first contest was 91.
Okay.
And so I'm going to tell you that my favorite stage venue is the American Royal Barbecue Contest in Kansas City, which is the world's largest barbecue contest. We've won it twice. We were the Open champion, grand champion 1 year. We were also the amateur grand. They used to have an amateur grand champion 1 year. So now it's just 2 open titles because they did away with that. But we had when we started this, it's because we did it out of a love of competition. We both love to compete. My husband is a great cook. He's an amazing cook. I can't cook to save my life, but he is the cook in the family. And so out of our love of competition, there were these local barbecue contests in Kansas City, which is pretty much where I want to think that barbecue contests started with the Kansas City Barbecue Society. And Carolyn and Gary Wells, her husband, who's since passed away, they are amazing people. Also, in my opinion, they're the founders of barbecue. I'm sure there are a lot of arguments out there against that, but they started this barbecue contest thing and kept it going, and now it's thriving. It's all over the world, and that's because of them, basically. So we started competing, met them. They've been wonderful cheerleaders for us from day one, and we fell in love with competition barbecue. We were really good at it. A couple of years into it, we had people asking us to cater, and we had a tiny house in Westwood, Kansas. So we were doing it out of our kitchen, which was not great because we were catering like big parties for 600 people occasionally. So we had to, there was a little gas station down the street that had a little fried chicken restaurant in it, and it had gone out of business. And it was seriously like 7 blocks from our house. So my husband went one day and he said, I'm going to go talk to them. We both had full-time jobs. I'm going to go talk to them and see if we can lease their kitchen. So we did that for about a year. We leased their kitchen from them. But then people would walk in, they'd smell the barbecue and they'd walk in. And so he decided, we had a good friend named Oklahoma Joe. I don't know if how much research you've done, but when we first started, we were Oklahoma Joe's Barbecue. We had a very good friend, Joe Davidson. He had actually started Oklahoma Joe's. He had his own sauce. He had a smoker company. And so we partnered with him. My husband had the crazy idea to quit his job, and we were going to go into business and go into the restaurant business. And at the time, I was in a full-blown panic. And I thought, this is never going to work, but okay. He will tell you now that it never occurred to him that it wouldn't work. So he has more faith in himself or us than I did at the time. But so we opened our first restaurant with Joe Davidson in Stillwater, Oklahoma. And we opened our second restaurant in Kansas City in the gas station in 1996. And we've been going ever since. About a year into it, Joe was going to get out of the smoker business. He wanted to get out of the restaurant business. So we split up, and we kept the name Oklahoma Joe's for a while until we were brave enough to turn to Joe's Kansas City, because we thought, well, now we're established. We had 3 restaurants when we finally changed the name. So, but it didn't faze anyone. Some people still call it Oklahoma Joe's. So that's how we got our start. That's how we ended up in the gas station.
Can you bring me back, because this is a show for entrepreneur, and so many people that are going to listen to this, some of them have restaurants, some of them want to have restaurants. Bring us back to working. What jobs were you guys doing when you were working full time?
Before we started our restaurant company, I worked for the Black Eyed Pea, which was it's a franchise out of Texas. There was a local franchisee in Kansas City. His name was John Linskog, and I was his assistant. I helped him open restaurants. I worked in his office. And then my husband we met working at Shredded Fruit and Vegetable. He was in outside sales. I was in inside sales. And then he went on to work for Kraft, which was at that point a grocery company. And then Cisco. And so that's pretty much where he got his start selling. He never outside of waiting tables when he was in college and in high school, he never worked in a restaurant, nor actually did I, except for opening restaurants. So that was what we did before we quit our jobs and opened a restaurant company.
So when you opened up the restaurant, you weren't running the gas station. It was just you were leasing the kitchen.
We were just renting the space. A year later, in September of 1997, we bought the entire corner. The gentleman that owned it wanted out. There was a liquor store and a gas station, a much bigger convenience store than it is now. We've got it down to like very little, because the restaurant needs so much more space, and there's no money in the candy business, or gas business, unless you're Quick Trip. But so we shrunk that part down. We eventually closed the liquor store, and we put our offices down there. We built a catering commissary out of it, which made it easier for us to open other restaurants, because we can do a lot of things from our catering commissary, i.e. make bean sauce, do a lot of the prep work that we don't have enough room for in our other restaurants.
That's amazing. I was going to ask you, now that you have 3 restaurants, why did you open up 3 restaurants and not 3 gas stations?
Well, the gas station, like I said, doesn't make much money. So we keep it because everyone loves to come in and see the gas station. So, and honestly, just after COVID, we opened a little patio in between the gas pumps. And it's the funniest thing you'll ever see, because people on a nice day, it's like 60 today, and I bet there are people sitting outside my between my gas pumps. They love it.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Bring us, we love talking about branding on this show. When we first opened, we were California Comfort Restaurant and Sports Bar back in 2008. And now all of a sudden we're Cali BBQ. So we've gone through multiple names and iterations, and we're Cali BBQ Media. For you, Oklahoma Joe's to Kansas City Barbecue was a huge deal for the community. I mean, there's Fox Business articles about your name change. Like that is amazing. Can you bring us back into the branding, the rebranding?
Well, we had so many people come to us when we were Oklahoma Joe's and say, "But you're from Kansas City. Why are you doing that?" So many Kansas City people. We literally got that question every day, and so and Joe Davidson got back into the restaurant business, and he has a couple of Oklahoma Joe's in Tulsa, Bixby. So he did that, and when he was doing that, it was really confusing for people. Well, now because we have a lot of the same recipes, but we aren't we're not the same company. So at that point, we decided, it's time to make the jump. And we were a little nervous we just took the Oklahoma part out. We still kept the Joe's Kansas City barbecue, but we were a little nervous because we did get a lot of people, maybe some of the same people that said, why the Oklahoma part? We come up and go, so you switched owners, right? We're like, nope, everything's the same. We just dropped the word Oklahoma. So it was a little scary to make that change, but it didn't slow anything down.
And now a quick break from restaurant influencers to welcome our newest sponsor to the show. It's Zach Oates, the founder of Ovation.
Ovation is helping restaurants to improve operations with the human touch. We are a guest experience platform for multi-unit restaurants like Friendly's, Mooya, PDQ, Taziki's, and even Cali Barbecue, with thousands of others that starts with a 2-question survey and drives revenue, location level improvement, and guest recovery. So here's how it works. The guest answers 2 questions. The first one is, how was your experience? And then from there, happy guests are invited to do things that are going to drive revenue, and unhappy guests share privately what went wrong, so you and your team can resolve that concern in real time. Our AI will even help you do that. Then the magic happens. We take all the public reviews, we take all the Ovation feedback, we categorize it using our AI, and give you detailed feedback in 34 restaurant-specific categories to improve your operations. So we make sure that guests feel good, that you look good. And if you're interested in learning more, visit ovationup.com/Sean, because any listener of Sean's is a friend of Ovation's.
Can you tell us a little bit about opening the second restaurant? When did that happen?
It happened, we opened our first restaurant in 96, and we opened our second restaurant in 2014, so almost 9 years later. In the beginning, it was just my husband and myself. We had a handful of good employees, but great employees. But he ran the back of the house. I ran the front of the house. I did all the books. And we honestly didn't have time. We were open 6 days a week. We took Sundays off. We gave our employees Sundays off. We had to do that for our sanity. And so it wasn't until I think we were 5 years into it that we hired our first general manager, and his name is Steve Corey. He's still with us. Awesome. He had a lot of restaurant experience, and we hired him with the hope that he would help us open restaurant number 2 and restaurant number 3 possibly, and which he did. He came in and he was able to take us to that next level. I don't know how we would have done it. When we opened our first restaurant, we could count the customers the first, 6 months, like, well, we had 10 customers today, or whatever. And then I remember the first day we had like a really big day. We had gone to a barbecue contest in Las Vegas, and I called the restaurant, and one of our managers answered the phone. He goes, the line was to the sunglasses case in the convenience store, which was like a huge deal. That may have been 20 people in line back then, but to us, we were like, wow, that's great.
Yeah.
But so it was slow, but then, by the time that we got to year 5, we were really doing well. Our catering business was starting to grow. The restaurant was really busy. And so we started thinking about it, which is why we hired Steve. And then Steve was able to, my husband started looking for new locations, and Steve was able to take us from the mom and pop organization that we'd become to letting go. So we weren't ever, basically, we were such a tight-knit little group. And as much as I hated letting that go, we had to do that to be able to grow. We couldn't stay in that one building. We had to be able to go out and open other locations. So he was able to take us to that next level and get the right people in place to let us move on to the next location and open it, because the little gas station is so tiny that I think at some point people would have gotten tired of standing in line if we hadn't opened 2 and 3.
What have you learned about, you said you started getting some traction on the catering side of the business. What do you attribute to the growth on the catering side?
Good food and good service. It's so important when the food's going to leave the building. I hate to get takeout. As myself, as a person, I hate to get takeout, because once it leaves the building, I always say that once it leaves the building, nothing great happens to it, but we do a lot of testing. We have great people that work for us, great smokehouse managers. And so we know now, after years of experience, but we've been doing it for a long time now, how we can get to the food to the exact right point get it to where it's not going to keep cooking too much, keep it hot, but not keep it cooking so that it doesn't get overcooked. We have great quality control at our restaurants, and the food quality is the most important thing. That's what keeps people from coming back. And we're now in the shipping business. After we opened our third restaurant, we started Sinjo's, which is our shipping. We can ship worldwide now. And so we were able to, we spent a lot of time researching that and getting our techniques right so that we could make sure that the product we ship is also wonderful.
How do you go about choosing your vendors, especially like technology vendors, when we're talking about barbecue, your shipping partners, the online ordering, things like that? How do you go about that process?
It's been a lot of trial and error, pretty much. I mean, honestly, especially as the partners go, but we have really good food vendors that are grocery vendors that we've been with for a long time, and loyalty has to be in play at some point, because if you're not loyal to them, they're not going to be loyal to you, and so you really need that. The same thing goes with our smokers. We now we ship ourselves also, but we use Gold Belly. We have a company called Smart Warehouse in Kansas City, and they take care of Gold Belly for us. So we send so much product to them every week, and then they take care of that shipping. We also they do our shipping for us too. So Smart Warehouse has been a great partner for us.
That's great. Can you talk a little bit about the pits? It was one of the coolest things. Was I will remember it for the rest of my life. The fact that your team let Carolyn and myself and Jean and my wife go through and see how many pits you guys put in like a very tight space, but they're all there. One of the coolest things was seeing the Sharpie, that you guys actually just use the Sharpie on the old hickory to write down and communicate. That's low tech, like it's literally, but it's so smart. It's such a smart thing.
It is. One guy puts them on and he goes on break or he leaves for the day, then someone else is there and they know when they get checked next. So we primarily use old hickories, and they've been really good to us. I'm gonna say that, and someone's gonna call me when they see this and go, no, and Lee would use something else, but that's where we got our start. And I do believe I may text you after this conversation and go, or Michelle, and say, hey, we also use these, but to my knowledge, it's pretty much old hickories is what we stick with. That's a great product. We have a couple on trailers that we use on offsite events, and they've never done us wrong. It's a good product, and that's what we know. So once you learn how to do it one way, it's hard to switch back if it works for you.
How do you create a legendary sandwich like the Z-Man?
We had a guy in Kansas City that was a sportscaster on a local station, and his name was Mike Zurich, and he called himself the Z-Man. And so we needed a new sandwich. And again, my husband is a great cook. And so he was playing around. We didn't even have onion rings in the restaurant at the time, but he was like, we should think about onion rings, which was like a whole new thing. So he was playing around with this sandwich, and Mike Zurich was in one day, and I believe that we ran a contest on his radio station, and it was named this sandwich. And we got some off the wall names, but in the end, we said, well, we should name it after him. He's the Z-Man. And I mean, it just stuck, and it is a legendary sandwich. It's our number one seller. It comes in several forms. We ship it worldwide now. It's just, and he's done that with every sandwich we've had. It's pretty much been his creation. And he doesn't, we now have a vice president of our company. His name is Ryan Barrows. And so Jeff and Ryan work very close together to create new things now. We did last year at some point for just a short time, but I think we're bringing it back. We did the buffalo chicken Z-Man. I was actually in California at the time, so I didn't get to taste it, but I heard great things about it. Cool. We now do a rocket pig sandwich, which is actually sausage, pulled pork, bacon, pickle or fried jalapenos, and it's got this special sauce we put on it. And I mean, it's an amazing sandwich, but it's so much going on in a sandwich. But so you always have to keep it fresh and keep looking for something different or something new anyway to keep people coming back.
So one of the things we try to encourage restaurateurs is always to think differently and think of different ways that they can build revenue streams. We've been very fortunate here in San Diego, Cali Barbecue. We have barbecue at our local stadium, so Snapdragon Stadium, where the San Diego Wave play, which is women's professional soccer. I understand you guys recently launched
We
in for the KC Current, the professional women's soccer. Now you can enjoy your barbecue in the stadium. Can you talk about the partnership there?
Yes. We first of all, we're very excited to have to have the Current in Kansas City, and it's a beautiful stadium. I've not been in it myself yet. When I get back to Kansas City in May, I'm going to go and see it. Colby and Megan Geralds, who are really good friends of ours, they own Rye Restaurant Company in Kansas City. They were asked to be the culinary partners, and so they came to us and said, a Z-Man kiosk would be amazing. And we said that would be amazing. So they kind of got us started with that. And it kind of helped us because that's kind of where that is the direction we want our restaurant company to go in the future. I think that the Z-Man restaurant, and we're just now starting to I'm just going to give you a little, it's something no one else really knows, but we're just now starting to put it in place with the Z-Man restaurant company is kind of where we want to go next. We basically just have the Z-Man sandwiches, fries, maybe another side dish or something. Amazing. A lot of drive-through, a little bit of dine-in. So it kind of gave us the opportunity to practice with that in a much smaller level inside the stadium. And the first game came and went. I understand everything went beautifully and that it was a big hit.
That's amazing. That's
yes.
super exciting. I can't wait to go and try a Z-Man at that stadium. I think that's one of the coolest things on an execution standpoint, from where you started to where you are and where you're going.
Right. And we had done this before when Kansas Speedway first came to Kansas City. They came to us and asked us if we would open a small Joe's inside the Speedway, and we did it for a couple of years. It's hard for us because when something like NASCAR's in town, our restaurants are so busy anyway. Yeah. So to take employees out of our restaurant or even ourselves and go work it's very tough. And then on top of that, you give so much money back to the organization. And for us, it really wasn't a moneymaker. We took a lot of pride in it, but it was, and also we were trying to do too many things in a small space. Whereas I think this is why this is going to be so successful. We're just doing a couple of things in this tiny space. And if you offer too much, sometimes too much is not necessarily more.
Yeah. Can you share about the 180 room? What does 180 mean for those that don't know, and tell us about
the 180 is a perfect score in competition barbecue. And that's what we all strive for when we go out there and compete. So when we were opening, we needed an event space. People, and it's busy all the time now, but when we first opened it, we had a lot of people coming in saying, we'd like to rent out your restaurant, which we just couldn't do unless it was a Sunday when we're closed. So we're in the strip shopping center in Olathe, Kansas, and a couple places went out of business next door to us. Our barbecue store was right next. We also have a barbecue store. Our barbecue store was right next to our Olathe restaurant, but we moved it across the parking lot to another location. And then there was an Army recruiter station next to it. So with those spaces open up, we had a beautiful space to create that shares a kitchen with our Olathe restaurant. So now it seats 100 to 120 people. It has a divider in the middle, so we can do two smaller spaces or one bigger space, whatever you want to do. It's we're really blessed because if you just want to, go one place instead of dealing with an event space, then having a caterer come in, we've got it all there in the restaurant, and it's been very popular. No one knows what 180 means though, unless you've been
that's true.
Barbecue. Yeah,
that's true. But it's good. You get to educate them.
Can
you tell me, why is it so important? I know we have restaurateurs that listen to this show, but for me, being in the barbecue space, in the hospitality space, giving back is literally, it's our lifeblood. It's the opportunity that we have to give back. You've created a foundation and you're doing some incredible work to give back to your community. Can you share a little bit about that work?
I will. So giving back is so important. We are so blessed in the Kansas City community. We are loved by many. We almost don't even really have to advertise. So many of our customers do it for us, which is amazing. So when my husband and myself had the opportunity to start giving back, well, I'll back up a little bit. In 2015, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I was very lucky. It was caught early. I'm all good, but in going through the process, I watched people in hospitals getting chemotherapy who didn't have daycare for their kids, getting treatment. They didn't have a way to get there. And I learned so much about, I think that maybe this is just my process and maybe not everyone else, but for me, I had not thought about that aspect of it. I was very lucky. I had health insurance. I was able to get myself there. I had a great support team around me that took care of me, but there are so many people that don't. And so, I was about 6 months into breast cancer, and a good friend of mine, Jennifer Roberts, came to me and she said, what if we started a charity event to raise funds for breast cancer survivors or research, whatever we wanted to do. And so, if I didn't say her name, it was Jennifer Roberts. She's my best friend. But when she said that, I thought, I'm not ready for that yet. But then I was still going through the process. And after thinking about it a little more, I thought, I want to, there's got to be someone out there helping people that don't have the things that we're talking about. They don't have hotel rooms because they don't live close by, and daycare and rides and whatever. And so there's Susan G. Komen, which we partnered with for the first couple of years with our charity. And then Susan G. Komen closed their Kansas City office in 2020 during COVID. And so I really wanted the money to stay local, but I wanted to support the people that support us. And so we then partnered with KU Medical Center, who has a process where they, I'm going to draw a blank right now. I'll have to get back with you on that, but it's a part of their facility. They also do research, of course, but they also have an entire organization within their organization that just does exactly what we're talking about. So they're able to prove to us every year, this is where the money went. And you can see that they're providing meals, they're providing hotels for family, they're doing all the things that insurance doesn't cover, that you just don't think about. And so when we started doing that, we were several years into it. When we had to switch to KU, we really needed to start our own charitable organization, which is when we started Joe's Casey Cares. And in doing that, that allowed us to also do other things. We have a golf tournament in Kansas City in June. We're doing a couple other events. We're working on a couple other events. We're trying to partner with, I'd love to partner with, I'm not going to throw this out there yet because this isn't set in stone. But anyway, it became so important. It became so important to us to give back to our community. You have to do that. I know that, and we have so many good friends, partners that step up every year and make both of our charitable events amazing and give so much to us. And so to be able to turn back, my husband and I both take a lot of pride in that.
Every business is a family business. What's the secret to sustaining a happy family business for as long as you've been able to?
Well, I'll tell you, one of the best secrets is to open multiple restaurants, because then one can be in one restaurant, the other can be in the other one. The day we discovered that, it was much better.
Now we don't have to be on top of each other.
Yes, exactly. I tell a lot of people that first 8 or 9 years, there were times, well, in the beginning, especially, we only had one car. We took one paycheck. We were living by the thread in our clothes, basically. And there were times when, if there was an argument, one person walked home the 7 blocks to the house because you weren't getting in the car with the other one. So you have to work through it, and you grow up a lot. And if you can work with your spouse in a tiny restaurant, this is what I'll tell you, in a tiny restaurant, and 34 years later still be together, I think that says a lot about, I think you're going to make it then.
So you guys do a phenomenal job. We started this show to talk about storytelling. We're a barbecue business that turned into a media business, but we believe in social media and telling your story. We're going to put a link, Joe's KC. You guys do a great job on Instagram. You do a great job on social.
Thank you.
One of the coolest things I can only imagine is having the amount of celebrities that are out there singing your praises, from Travis Kelce saying it's his favorite barbecue restaurant on the most popular podcast in the world. How do those things make you feel? I mean, they've happened since you started.
It's amazing. It's always fantastic to have people come in and sing your praises, but then celebrities that go online. That's what I meant by we don't really have to advertise. We have so many great customers that do it for us. Before I go any further, I do want to say this: Travis and Taylor, I'll cater the wedding. I'll cater the rehearsal dinner, whatever you want. Okay, call me. Okay.
There it is. You
Yes,
heard it
yes,
here, Travis.
yes. Call
Travis and
Eric
Taylor.
Connick.
We've got it.
Yes,
We've
call
got
Eric.
it fully
Yes.
fully covered right here.
Yes, exactly. I can do it. But it's fantastic to have them come in. Travis's mom has been in. She's wonderful. We've had Chiefs players, Royals players. I'll never forget one year. Oh gosh, I'm gonna forget her name now. The Fargo, the original movie that was on. I'll think of her name. The actress came through and none of my employees recognized her. And it would seem like I wouldn't either because I can't remember her name right now. But she stood in line. Her husband's Joel Cohen, and he sat down and he saved his seat, which I was like, don't go out and yell at him because we don't like that. We don't really let that happen. I'm like, don't go out and yell at him. Okay. And so she went through the line and she ordered a ton of food for just the two of them, but she asked for a lot of it to go. They were on a road trip. They came through Kansas City, she explained to me at the cash register, to stop in at Joe's. It was like the third time they'd done that on their way to somewhere. They got a bunch of stuff to put in the cooler in the trunk of their car to take with them. Amazing. That was like, and my employees they kept going, who is that? And when she finally, I didn't want to embarrass her, call her out and let have everyone bother her. But when she got to the cash register, I just wanted to tell her what a big fan I was. And she was like, oh, she goes, no, I'm a huge fan of yours. We're a huge fan of yours. So it's always great to hear that from anyone. But then when people go on to talk about it, when whatever the platform is that they have, that's even nicer.
How many presidents have you catered for?
At least a half a dozen.
At least a half a dozen. That is amazing. Which one was the most memorable? Or different?
So none of them have actually been in the restaurant. They've always sent people to get it for them. I'm not going to throw that out there. We don't have any political affiliation, so I'm not going to say that. Okay.
All of the presidents, we take care of all.
Yes, exactly. We love them all. Yes.
Team USA. There we go.
Yes, exactly.
Team USA loves barbecue. That's all that matters.
Yes.
Well, is there anything that you guys have that's coming up that you'd like to share with the audience? Anything that's on your mind? Something that you've been doing?
Well, I would like to say that we're really close to that Seaman concept opening up, but we are not yet. We're still working out some kinks. We bought an onion ring factory a year and a half ago to support this. And so we bought it from the gentleman who was making our onion rings, and he did a fantastic job, but we really needed that onion ring to work for our concept. And so we're pretty much at the point where we've got all the kinks worked out. We've got a couple of different grocery companies that are carrying them. And we've just, signed a couple of deals with a couple other big restaurateurs that are going to start using them. So getting that worked out, we can start to work on that concept. My husband, Jeff, always has something new going on in his head that maybe he doesn't sometimes tell me because I tell him he's got to slow down. We've got to work out this before we can go on to that. He kind of has it in his mind that he wants to make ice cream. We have a building that's empty across from us, across from Joe's, the gas station. So if you're out there and you're looking for a great location, call us because it's open. And if we don't do something with it, my husband swears he's going to start making ice cream there and selling ice cream. So I don't know. I really can't tell you what will come out of his mouth next or his head.
What do you do for yourself? One of the most difficult things as restaurateurs is we are very good at taking care of everybody else. We take care of our team. We take care of our village. We take care of our community. Very rarely do we go, oh my gosh, I've been working for years on end and I haven't done anything for myself. What do you do for yourself?
Horses. We have a quarter horse business, my husband and I do, and we've been doing this for 22 years. So it kind of came along after our restaurant company, but it's my passion. They're quarter horses, if I didn't say that already. And my discipline is halter. So I go to horse shows. We're also on the breeding end. We have a stud that is just in his third breeding season this year. He has 2 sets of babies on the ground, or 2 years of babies on the ground. And we have mares. And so that's my passion outside of barbecue in Kansas City and the things we're doing in our community. I go to horse shows, and it's my escape. I love it.
I can't thank you enough. We talked about it before the recording started, that you said Jeff usually does all the interviews, and you came to do this interview. And for me, I think it's so important to have voices, all of the voices in the restaurant business. And I know that I couldn't do anything that I did if it wasn't for my wife, Rositza. And I wish that she would go on more interviews. And I wish that anybody that's listening knows that whether it's the husband, the wife, all of the voices in the restaurant hospitality business, we all matter. So thank you for taking the time to do this and give back. You guys are an incredible institution. What you've done for the barbecue community, the restaurant community. I can't wait to come back to Kansas City to come and see you and Jeff, and come and visit the shop. And if you or anyone from your team ever makes it to San Diego, please come for some California barbecue. I know it's not Kansas City barbecue, but we have a lot of love, and we love what we do, and we would be grateful to see you out here.
Well, thank you so much. I'll definitely reach out to you if we're going to come to San Diego. But if you're going to be in Kansas City, please call me.
I will.
I'll meet you there. We'll do a tour together, and awesome. I'd love to talk barbecue with you more. And maybe you can bring Jeff around this time.
That would be awesome. Well, thank you so much. It's Joy. You can find him, Joe's KC. You can buy it anywhere in the world. We'll put a link so you can enjoy some of that barbecue. Thank you so much for your time. As always, thank you to Toast, our primary technology partner, for supporting these stories. We appreciate it. And you, the listener, please reach out to me. It's at Shawn P. Walchef, ShawnPWalchef. Stay curious, get involved, and don't be afraid to ask for help. Catch you guys next week. Thank you for listening to Restaurant Influencers. If you want to get in touch with me, I am weirdly available at Shawn P. Walchef, ShawnPWalchef. Cali Barbecue Media has other shows. You can check out Digital Hospitality. We've been doing that show since 2017. We also just launched a show, season 2, Family Style, on YouTube with Toast. And if you are a restaurant brand or a hospitality brand and you're looking to launch your own show, Cali Barbecue Media can help you. Recently, we just launched Room for Seconds with Greg Majewski. It is an incredible insight into leadership, into hospitality, into enterprise restaurants and franchisee relationships. Take a look at Room for Seconds. And if you're ready to start a show, reach out to us, betheshow.media. We can't wait to work with you.